Two games, home and away domestically. Liverpool have beaten Manchester United by 9 goals to 0. For Liverpool, it's all about the title race, and those 3 points then puts them 2 points clear of Manchester City, who are in action tomorrow as they take on Brighton. For United, they could still, amazingly, qualify for the Champions League. Somewhat of an indictment, maybe, of the teams around them. Let's welcome to the show Stewart Robson to reflect on this game. Robbo, before we come to you, Craig, it's no surprise. How many times we sat here this season?
It wasn't a hurdle for them.
No.
Really and truly. I mean, everybody can talk... I mean, Stevie knows more about the rivalry. But this is a team that was almost through the lead away against Norwich. This is a team that... hapless Everton, who couldn't win a game. United rolled up and Everton got themselves 3 points. I mean, we were on the NBC telecast, they were saying it was Harlem Globetrotters, it was embarrassing, and I have to echo all those words. It was horrendously bad. And not just that, from a player's perspective, I think you've got to look at Rangnick as well and his coaches. They don't come out unscathed out of all this period, because what the hell have they done? Have we seen anything different from this Man United? Anything? Have we seen in 3 or 4 months high energy pressing? Have we seen a passing game? Have we seen a stronger defensive unit? No, the only thing we've seen is a brilliant goalkeeper performing and bailing him out at times. He's the only one. When Ten Hag comes in, he puts De Gea's name on the board and 10 other question marks.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. Now, you're not going to change everybody in a transfer window, but by golly, if he had the choice, he probably would. And that's inclusive of the little Portuguese Fernandes, who they've just given a new contract to. This club has an amazing penchant for shooting itself in the foot with new contracts. They gave Solskjaer one just before they sacked him. They've given Fernandes one when there was no rush to give him one. I mean, the decision-making was just... it's just been horrendous.
How does this compare to Liverpool United? In the, 40 years you've been seeing this fixture, Steve?
Yeah, I was telling you earlier, 40 years I've been involved in the Liverpool Man United fixture. And in 40 years, I never felt the way I did once before I did this game. When I saw the team sheet and I saw Phil Jones at the back and I saw Matic in the middle, I'm like, there's no way this side's getting anything from this. Because Matic can't run and Phil Jones shouldn't be playing for Manchester United. And I never once had any thoughts other than this game's done before the ball was kicked. I've never done that before. Even the 5-0 game at Old Trafford before the game, I've still got that rivalry in me where I know things can go wrong because of the intense rivalry. Well, there was no intense anything about this game. This was Liverpool against well, they looked like they were relegation struggle.
Thiago must have been in the dressing room and said, "Well, they keep telling me about this rivalry."
Well, I've got to tell you this. It was 2-0. It was just before half-time.
Yep.
And I was actually shouting at Rashford because he never kicked Thiago.
Yep.
That's how bad that Manchester United were. That I was actually shouting at their players to kick Thiago because nobody was going anywhere close to him. They were all standing off him. And I'll tell you what, if you stand off this guy, he can see any pass that's on, anywhere on the field, and he pretty much did that in the first half.
I think Robbo's been very generous.
Well, that's what I was about to say as we welcome Robbo into the conversation. It's quite generous, isn't it? Most getting 5s.
Well, 5 means very poor. So I've said
So
most
what's
of
a
the players.
4? What's a 3? What's a 2?
Oh, we don't go that low in England.
Oh my goodness gracious me!
The lowest you can get is a 4, and I would give most of those Manchester United players a 5 for a little bit of effort they showed in the second half. But overall, they were shocking. And Craig is absolutely right. The manager has to take some criticism, and his coaching staff. Why would you play Phil Jones? And there's nothing against Phil Jones. He's only played one game, or started one game against Wolves, where he did OK. He's been out injured for many, many months. He's lacks match fitness, and you play him in a massive game where you need to defend well against a top-class side. You put him as your middle centre-half in a back three, which you haven't played. You then go and put Dalot at left-back, and you play Rashford up front, who's not had a kick in the last, I would say, the last 6 months almost. So it was a team that he put out that was always going to lose, but the way they lost was embarrassing, particularly in that first half.
Well, how many fouls was it, Stevie, at half-time? 2 fouls from Manchester United. Seriously? That's the only. That's all they committed, and that kind of epitomises the lack of fight.
No shots at goal, and no shots total and 2 fouls.
You know, I've always said if you give Thiago time on the ball, he's a terrific little footballer because he can. And actually, some of his interceptions in the second half. I mean, he was brilliant today. But when you give a guy that time and space, and he does all those little fancy drop of the shoulders and stuff, and plays some great passes, then that's what you're going to get.
He gets a 9 from Robbo, so that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, oh, come on, I haven't got my glasses on. Oh, he's give Robertson an 8, that's all right, because he was up and down the wing. Yo-yo. But I tell you, go back to that point. Sadio Mane played through the middle, if memory serves me right, in the semi-final.
Yep.
Okay, so the chances are he was going to probably go the same way. You go with a back three against what we would call these days a false 9 and 2 wider players, you're going to end up with 3 centre-halves marking nobody. So you're getting overrun in the middle of the park, you're getting overrun in all the other areas. You had Mane dropping in to those little holes to put, you know, Maguire or whoever, Jones didn't know where to go with him or not. He got turned for the first goal. When he did push on, then Thiago got all this space. I mean, when Ralf Rangnick came in, I didn't expect him to be doing brilliant things. I didn't expect him to be City or Liverpool, but I expected a lot more. Now, yeah, there's a lot of wasters at Man United, but I thought he'd have gotten some sort of tune out of them. I thought we'd at least have seen what we saw when Klopp first took over at Liverpool, when they were way off the pace of winning the league, but we saw a high-intensity pressing game. And we went, oh, that's how it's going to be, right? And then they improve the quality. We've seen none of that.
The one thing we've got that we didn't expect is that they're actually worse. We didn't see that.
They are worse.
Yeah.
We didn't see that coming. We thought, because of the reputation this guy had for closing the ball, which means that you have to wind players up, you have to give, you know, they have to be full of energy, then you're thinking, well, at the very least, that's what we're going to get. Whether the football's good or not, we don't know, but at least we're going to get that energy. Well, I'll tell you what, somebody bust the balloon before the game kicked off because there wasn't any.
It's actually quite difficult. When you sit and think about it, it's actually quite difficult to spend that amount of money and be that bad. I'm serious. It is quite difficult to do that. That tells you all you need to know about the decision-making. David De Gea apart, who has, in all fairness to him, and I've said this a couple of weeks ago, who has resurrected his career. He looked as if he was going back to Spain to pick his pension up and play a bit of La Liga because he looked as if he'd lost all his confidence. He's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The rest of them, I don't know. Ten Hag, if Ten Hag was watching that, I hope he's not. I wonder what he's thinking, because that was looking at what he has to aspire to and where they are is such a huge jump with the people that club that he's going to have to work with. That's going to be tough.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.